All right, everybody, welcome back to Bone Apple Tea, brought to you once again by our newest sponsor, the bell button, located conveniently next to the subscribe button. You might already be subbed, but have you belled and turned on all notifications? Thanks to our sponsor, you can. Pretty cool stuff. Let's start off with number 19, Of Her Wise. It has a slight crack by the door, but it's in good condition. Of Her Wise. I refuse to believe that anyone has gone through enough of their life to be selling something on Craigslist to where they've never seen otherwise spelled out as an entire word. This is an autocorrect snafu, and I don't believe it to be anything else. They spelled it wrong, hit the wrong keys, and then autocorrect was just like, this is it. And then they just hit submit anyway, and they never looked twice at it, which is something that I would probably do. I've sent many wrong messages, and then I realized like 5 minutes later that I look like an idiot. And you know what? Sometimes when it's just on Craigslist, maybe you don't even care. You're like, nobody is going to think twice about it, whether or not I have it spelled correctly. They just want to see the crate and get it. And mock my words. Okay. Why do I feel like we've seen a mock my words before? This is a recurring thing that multiple people do, apparently, because it's definitely been over a month since we were last here. But mock my words, this stay-at-home order throughout the... Wow, this is... Yeah, we got a twofer here. Throughout the country will cause a civil war again. Watch. Throughout, they threw out the country, dude. Once the crown hit, we just were like, it's contaminated. We're gonna throw it out. Start all over again. Not a fan of germs, so you know what? Once those germs came in, no fixing it. We're just gonna throw it out. So you get rid of it. A lot of germs on that thing. Don't want to touch it. Rubber gloves. Throw that thing out. And clean slate. Start it fresh. New society. Out on the water in the middle of the ocean. This is why New Zealand doesn't have any new cases, because they're surrounded by water. I am not a scientist. Please do not take that as fact. Toot-a-loo. You thought I asked for your opinion? Cry emoji, cry, laugh emoji. Because I did not. Toot-a-loo. That sounds like something you do when you're in the toilet. You might toot while you're on the loo. Or in the loo. Because, I mean, that's the place to do it. So maybe this man's was just asking for, where should I fart? I really gotta let it go. I'm at this party, a lot of people around me. Can't really break away from the conversation. Should I just be rude? Should I just dip out? Should I toot in the loo? Or do I just do it right here where I stand? He's like, okay, I guess I'm gonna toot in the loo. So that's all they were going for here. Eggs been a dick. Eggs been a dick, dude. And peanut butter honey round. Sounds like some kind of different language that food would speak or something. Eggs been a dick, but peanut butter honey round. Like peanut butter's been good because honey, and I don't know where the round comes in. Secret food language. Ammunition system. There is no law that you have to wear a mask. It's better to breath fresh air. So your ammunition system, get used to it. As for the mask, I think it became fashion statement. Stop being a germophobic. There's so much in here. I'm astounded. It has to be a troll. There's no way this can't be a troll. There's no way that this is not a troll. Somebody is taking the piss here on Facebook. I want to meet the person who types this insincerity and walks away with a straight face and is happy with the point that they think they just proved here. Because ammunition system, there are some gnarly battles that are fought without you even being conscious of it inside of your body, and your body has a lot of ammunition, and it's very, very impressive at the end of the day. So you're not far off of what actually happens, but ammunition, come on. This is, no. Virgin. I like this version better than the original. I guess, if you've had one virgin and you didn't really enjoy the experience, then maybe in the future you'll be with another and it'll be a better experience. Possible. Everyone's experiences are different with every different partner that they have, and yeah, everyone's entitled to their opinion, right? Help, I've been hatched. Everyone, I'm changing my password. My account was hatched. Those pesky accounts, once they come of age, they just decide to, exit their shell, go take on a life of their own. Your password no longer works because your account's like, no, I've outgrown you, account holder. I don't need you anymore. I've hatched. I'm going into the world. I'm gonna live my own life, free of the constraints of your password shell. But also, why would you announce that you're changing your password? There's one thing I could give as far as advice to people. It's when it comes to anything account security wise, don't tell people, don't communicate to people all the steps for account security, because that in and of itself reduces your security. People know what barriers of protection you have, then it might be super minor. It might not really impact things at all, but it's something that people can use, right? It's something that people can use. Just like if you show yourself typing in a password to something on stream, even if they can't see the keys, they can't see your keyboard, if they know how many characters are in the password, that narrows it down just based on how many dots are in there. Because I've seen people on streams type in passwords and it's like, you're showing how many characters are in the password by doing that. And that's a thing. Sorry, I know I'm going on a more serious topic, but it's important to take your internet security seriously. So do everything you can to keep it obscure. Bon Voyage. I'm not gonna lie, I thought that's what it was for a very long time. In fact, I probably watched The Incredibles and thought, oh yeah, it's just, obviously, that's a villain name, right? Why wouldn't it be? That's probably where it came from, was just, Bon Voyage. I was definitely after that I realized it was French. Flatten the curb. Flatten the curb, not the economy. I hate drainage. I like it when things flood. Flatten those curbs. I want people on the sidewalk to be walking in puddles. I want everything to be a river. Flatten those curbs. Who needs drainage? We prefer it when the water just sits flat everywhere and doesn't have a channel by which to flow into a storm drain system. Flatten those curbs. Prodigal Son has returned. The Prodigal Son has returned. Henry Cavill is back as Superman. Honestly, I can see how someone would get confused by this, because prodigal is not really a word that's ever used independently of the phrase prodigal son. For the most part, there are exceptions, but it's not a word you commonly see otherwise, and so for someone to think it must be just protocol pronounced kind of differently given the context, I wouldn't be surprised. I get you. It's an innocent mistake, and I can see where it comes from, as opposed to some other ones we've seen here. Disposable thumbs. Ever wondered how much easier a cat's life would be if they had disposable thumbs? I wonder how much easier my life would be if I had disposable thumbs. Sometimes more like disposable fingers in general. I get all these calluses and stuff on there, dude. Especially now that it's I own the barbells at my house. They have much more serious knurling than the ones that were at my gym. And if I had disposable index fingers, disposable ring fingers, God, it'd be way easier than having to tape over them and let them heal and stuff like that. Super convenient. Back when I skateboarded and I was doing grabs all the time, my thumbs would get fricked. So disposable thumbs back when I skated, ooh, that would have saved me, dude. Self-scented. You're all just self-scented, selfish cats. Cats are selfish, so it works. You missed the your. Why is the you are so common in angry people? There's a trend. There is definitely a direct correlation between the anger of someone and the your mix-up. There is irrefutable proof, I'm sure, if someone did a study, that the your always happens and it always just ruins your point. Anytime. Even if someone had a brilliant, also angry point, as soon as you screw up a your, it ruins the whole thing and nobody's going to take it seriously. So it's a very important thing to get right. Sexual as salt. It's unbelievable. 90% of those horror stories involve sexual as salt. What are those GMs thinking? Well, it's someone's fetish. There's somebody out there who's really into salt in ways you wouldn't even believe. They do things with it you can't even imagine, that you don't really want to imagine, for that matter. But everyone should be entitled to their own kinks. Don't kink shame, okay? People want to get sexual with their salt, they can get sexual with their salt. Further ado. Sounds great. Oh, let's do it. Without further ado. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Further ado. Oh, you mean without further ado? Oh, lol. This was a very wholesome exchange. Well played. I'm glad you communicated the issue. They learned it immediately rather than coming back with, no, you're wrong. It's without further ado. I'm not your friend anymore. Thanks for correcting me. Go away now. This is nice. I'm glad you could resolve this amicably. I think at the end of the day, the real culprit here is that the French language has very, very confusing spellings, as does the English language. But we're used to the English language here, because you're watching my videos, presumably, so you speak English. French, however, a lot of silent things going on there, and it confuses me. So I can totally understand if you haven't seen it before. Bon apple tea, but I digest. NBA Twitter isn't ready for this argument. Do people not understand that basketball has two sides, offense and defense? But I digest. Offense, defense, with the accent over the E. This is some very, very, very incredibly, like, I don't know, they really like defense. Something like that. They have to accent it or something. Like, I just want you to know that I really defense. I gotta accent that first syllable. But I digest. That's a favorite of mine now, ever since I've seen it here a few times, to pull an I digest when I'm streaming or doing a YouTube video. I've just brought it into my vocabulary at this point, and I'm sure there are people who are like, what? Why is he saying, but I digest? Did he just eat food? But I'm just gonna keep doing it instead of an I digress. Who needs to use digress when you can digest? Pair of dice. Last day in pair of dice. Who knows? Maybe they're going gambling, and so this is their last day in Pair of Dice Casino. There is probably Pair of Dice Casino somewhere in the world, I bet, because that would be a name for a casino. It makes sense. There was actually, I mean, it's not was, is like a progressive house song from probably like 8 years ago or something. It's kind of when I first moved to LA. And I think it was called Pair of Dice. But I was always, like, it was a good song, and I enjoyed listening to it when it came on the radio. But I was always really confused about the name. I was like, did they make a typo, or is it actually called Pair of Dice? Or did they mean Paradise, and they said it wrong? And I think that was the point of the song. And having that title was just to be purposely confusing. Like, it didn't have vocals. It was just an instrumental track. And I was now I'm remembering it. Incontinence is the real inconvenience. I'm real happy that we can run into another incontinence typo. I like how it's inconvenience being changed to incontinence rather than incontinence being the word that's spelled wrong, because incontinence is like kind of an out there one that you don't hear very much. But on the other hand, inconvenience, pretty common, and they don't even sound the same. Sorry for the incontinence. That's actually why we had to close the pool. Just a lot of people involuntarily peeing in it, and it got kind of gross. And the top for the last month, I love the smell of demonetized. I love the smell. There's the artifacting, the JPEGification on this image. 100% this could just be a meme. This could just be Photoshop caption on top of some incense sticks. I love the smell. Really great. Want to have it on my cologne. Probably smells similar to, I don't know, other situations that are, I don't know, sexual. Maybe with salt involved in them. We're done here. That's it for the last month of Bon Apple Tea. I hope you've enjoyed. Make sure to like if you liked. Check out the playlist if you want to catch more Bon Apple Tea. Subscribe. And if you're already subscribed, hit the bell, our sponsor, Swift. I'll see you next time.